The National Hurricane Center reports that Lee, now a post-tropical storm, is still churning out hurricane-force winds early on Saturday, while also dumping rain in some areas of southeastern New England and Atlantic Canada. Despite the drop in status, Lee, which was a Category 1 hurricane earlier on Saturday, is still anticipated to have an impact on the area. Lee is anticipated to be a hurricane, or slightly below one, when it makes landfall in Nova Scotia later today. As Lee advances across Atlantic Canada, weakening is anticipated tonight and on Sunday, according to the National Hurricane Center's 5 a.m. advisory on Saturday. The center also noted that the storm has lost enough tropical characteristics to no longer be classified as a hurricane. The potential for some coastal flooding and tropical storm force gusts in coastal New England, particularly Maine and Massachusetts, where states of emergency have been issued, are likely to have the greatest effects on the U.S. The Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, have been given permission by President Biden to take action in order to coordinate disaster relief and assistance for necessary emergency measures. The southern coasts of the Canadian provinces of New Brunswick and Nova Scotia are under a hurricane watch. According to the Hurricane Center, as of 5 a.m. ET Saturday, Lee's core was about 220 miles south-southeast of Eastport, Maine, and had maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour. Near Halifax, Nova Scotia, Lee was 230 miles, 365 kilometers, to the south-southwest. Lee is not anticipated to touch down in the U.S. Tropical storm conditions were wreaking havoc on the shores of Massachusetts and Nova Scotia early on Saturday morning, despite being hundreds of miles away from the U.S. East Coast, according to Hurricane Center experts. Similar effects are also expected for Maine. The Storm Center cautioned that these circumstances are likely to result in downed trees and potential power outages. Up to 140 miles from Lee's core, hurricane-force winds could be felt, and up to 390 kilometers away, tropical storm-force winds could be felt. The Hurricane Center reported that a wind gust of 59 miles per hour and a sustained wind of 43 miles per hour were recently recorded near Dennis, Massachusetts. On Saturday, Lee may unleash violent winds in addition to up to 6 inches of rain in far northern Maine. Neighboring New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island may all experience significant precipitation. States of emergency are also in place, and tropical storm warnings are in place for the Massachusetts coasts from Martha's Vineyard to Nantucket, as well as the coasts of Maine from the north to the south. The Canadian Arctic is also included in the warning. Boston's Logan International Airport seen a rise in flight cancellations early on Saturday as the New England coast feels the effects. FlightAware, a website that tracks flights, reports that 23% of all flights into Boston and 24% of flights leaving the city were canceled on Saturday, for a total of over 117 aircraft cancellations. According to Michael Brennan, director of the National Hurricane Center, if Lee's storm surge coincides with high tide, coastal areas from the Long Island Sound north through Maine could experience floods of 1 to 3 feet above ground level. Residents of Canada and the U.S. along the shore are warned to stay inside. Jamie Rome, the deputy director of the National Hurricane Center, issued a warning against driving close to coastlines and recommended residents to stay inside to weather the storm. Additionally, he mentioned that rip currents pose a significant concern from southern Florida all the way up to Maine. In a brief video update on Friday night, Rome stated, "The waves from this big hurricane produce a current that goes out to sea and will pull you out. Thus, if you plan to visit a beach this weekend, swim close to a lifeguard." According to a news release from the municipality, local officials in Toms River, New Jersey, prohibited swimming this weekend at Ortley Beach due to the potential for severe surf. Infringers may receive a ticket. To enforce the red flag swimming ban, Lifeguards will be on duty on Saturday and Sunday from 9:00 a.m. to 5:00 p.m. The beach will be open, according to a news release from the authorities on Friday. In Canada, authorities in New Brunswick advise citizens to stock up on food and medicine for at least 72 hours and prepare for power shortages by staying inside. Kyle Leavitt, the director of the New Brunswick Emergency Measures Organization, advised people to remember to please stay at home if at all possible once the storm starts. Observing the large waves and the actual strength of the wind can do no good. You are endangering not only your own life, but also the lives of any emergency responders who might have to help you.